think you know by now that lavender is one of my absolute favourites, and this is a perfect time of year to take those cuttings to get free lavender plants for next year. So you haven't got to go and spend money in the garden centre, because if you can take the cutting now, you could get free lavender next year. And this was a question that was asked in one of the comments, and it's often asked actually, how do we do that? If you have a different way, please carry on doing your way. I'm just suggesting and showing you the ways that I do it that has worked for me over the years. These little lavender plants are still flowering in the garden, so I'm not going to touch them at the moment. I'm leaving them to do their thing. When I took 8 cuttings last year, these are 4 of them that I left all in the same pot, and they're looking really well. They're flourishing being in that pot, but I will separate them at the end of this year and put them in their own pot, so they've got that room to grow bigger next year. So this is the plant that I'm going to take the cuttings from. I've got my 2 lots of earth ready. I'm going to put 1 in this pot, and I'll put 3 or 4 in the larger pot all around the edges. This plant is finished, it's flowered, I've cut the flowers off. I did that in another video if you wanted to take a look at that. So what I'm looking for here is a soft branch off of the main branch. So there's the main branch, and then you'll see on the edge there is another branch that has come off. So it's not a leaf, it's another branch that has come off. It's nice and soft. And then I'm just going to strip away those leaves that are down the edge of that branch. You can use scissors to take that branch off if you want. I just peel it off gently, making sure you don't damage that main branch. So I'm showing you again there, main branch, and then that soft branch that comes off of it. And then just peel away those bottom leaves, just so that you've got a nice long stem that you're going to pop into your earth afterwards. And I'm taking here about 3 or 4 different cuttings. Some of them won't take, all of them may take. It's just trial and error sometimes. So take enough so that 1 or 2 of them will take roots. If you want to try take a cutting from the main stem rather than one of those smaller branches off, give it a go, experiment, see what works for you. But obviously when it's the main stem, you can't peel it off so easy. So just use your scissors or whatever you've got that's quite sharp and take a snip off. But do the same thing to strip those couple of leaves off. So now I've collected enough of the cuttings, and I'm just going to make a hole in the middle. You can use a pencil, whatever it is you want to make a nice hole, so that you're not going to damage that stem as you put it in. So make sure your hole I've done there with my finger is deep enough so that you can just then pop that gently in. Okay, because if you don't make the hole first, you could potentially ruin that stem because it's quite soft. And then you can see I'm just doing the same all the way round. And going around the edge is just always something that I've done. I don't know where I've picked that up from, but it gives each plant more room. Some people like putting your hormone, dipping those stems in hormone. I've used before some of the insides of an aloe vera plant, but last year's ones just did without anything like that. They just did it this way. So then make sure you give them a nice watering. So you're giving them a good start, otherwise they'll just dry out too quickly. Make sure you water enough because you don't want to do that just that top level. You want to get right down to that lower level to help encourage the roots. And make sure they're all standing up your roots so they're not tipping on that earth because they could start rotting. And then you're going to find a nice position for them. Lavenders love sunshine, but when we're doing cuttings, too much sunshine could burn them and dry them out too quickly. So a nice light but shaded area to protect them. And this is one of the other cuttings that I took last year, one of those 8. It's really liked being there. It's seems to be larger than the others, and probably because it's directly in the ground rather than in a pot. But it's really liked being in there. It's still flowering. You can see all that is from just one of the cuttings from last year. So that's done really well there. If you haven't got flower beds in your garden, you've only got pots, you may not get such a big showing of lavender, but it's still so worth having because this one here is in an old chimney pot that we collected from somewhere, and it's lovely because it's right down the edge of the house. So this is finished flowering, so I will be cutting this back over the next day or 2. And I showed you another video where I just cut above that top leaf, and I'll either just grab a whole bunch together and snip, or I'll just do it gently. If you've got a bigger plant, just grab and snip. You haven't got to be too delicate with it because they're quite forgiving. But you can see next to it is one that hasn't even started flowering yet. So they just, wherever they sit in your garden is where they either flower at different times, which is lovely because my lavender seems to flower different parts of the garden for about a month. And this is the original plant that all these cuttings have come from. I have shown you this in another video. It was here when we came and it just had been neglected. So it's really woody. I got a few little flowers off of it this year again for the bees, but I don't think I'm going to be able to save it anymore. Once it gets that woody, there's not really that much you can do. What I've done is replanted another one of those seeds just under there because it's such a good position for it. It's in full sunshine and it loves it there. So that plant will grow, that new plant will grow into something bigger that I shall keep trimmed back so it doesn't go woody. This is another one of those cuttings from last year, but unfortunately look how different it is. It hasn't done that well because it was shadowed by the peony next to it. So I wanted it there to come up when the peony had finished, but actually it was shadowed there. So I'm going to cut all that back and give it more room next year. I hope you've got something from this video. I hope you've been inspired somehow to take your own cuttings and to see that, you know, it's worth a try because you could end up with something for free and you haven't lost anything if it doesn't work. Drop me a comment if you've got any questions and enjoy your gardening.